action.
All right, thank you. I was waiting for that. Hello, I'm Hannah Kaiser, and welcome to The Bandwagon. This week, I'll be telling you why it's not just okay to bandwagon, it's actually very good, why I'm rooting for a team that everyone else in the country hates, and also how to fix baseball once and for all. The name of the show is The Bandwagon, because that's how I experience fandom, and I think it's a great way to do it, and everyone should give it a try. Rule number one is that fandom should be fun. Bandwagoning adds an insurance policy to what is supposed to be an exclusively enjoyable experience, which is sports fandom. If you're going to watch sports, it should be bringing you joy, even if that team that you're watching is not the one that you used to root for. We dedicate time and energy and money to understanding the lives and exploits of superhumanly talented strangers who do not give a about us because it is supposed to be fun. It is all optional entertainment, and you can force it to work in your favor by choosing to invest in teams that are going to return the highest value on your investment. Rule number two, sports franchise loyalty is a one-way street. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, your rooting has no material impact on the outcome of the game. It's only a zero-sum game for people whose paychecks are actually paid by Major League Baseball. Rooting interests do not have to be mutually exclusive. You can root for one team today and a different team tomorrow, and it won't matter. Rule number three is that teams are just big businesses. Prioritizing the team above all else means that you're rooting for one, billionaires, and two, laundry. Teams don't care about you, but they also don't care about the players. Teams with their C-suite executives and their copyright logos are just companies. They're big businesses with an eye on the bottom line and antitrust exemptions. The romanticism of rooting for your hometown team your whole life is really just good marketing. If you actually care about the product on the field, it should be able to transcend that. Rule number four, there isn't just one right way to be a fan. This isn't about having less fandom or even less fervent fandom. It's about dismantling the idea that fandom is a necessarily jingoistic experience and that some loud dude at a bar who lives and dies by the success of people he's never met gets to be the gatekeeper for who's a real fan of the sport.
What's rule number 5?
There's no rule number 5. It's only 4 rules, man. Every week, I'm going to be telling you which team you should root for right now, or at least which team I'm rooting for right now. These are teams that I think are fun and good. Not just good, not just fun, but both. It's admittedly a little bit of a tough sell to convince people that a team which literally trademarked the phrase baseball's evil empire is actually the lovable underdogs. And yet, this week, I'm bandwagoning the Yankees. I know, okay? Tough to sell the Yankees as like a lovable underdog, but this year, they are the little engine that could, and you should start rooting for them right now. The Yankees have had over a dozen guys on the injured list, and yet they still have a plus 36 run differential. The Yankees doing really, really well while all of their star players are hurt is in fact very exciting and makes them a little bit more likable, I think. Young guys like Luke Voigt and Clint Frazier are proving why they should be an everyday presence on the roster, and a whole bunch of journeymen are getting a chance to play the most meaningful baseball of their career. Plus, this rotating cast of AAA guys getting their shot at the big leagues is forcing fantastic radio broadcaster John Sterling to come up with an equally rotating cast of home run calls for guys who you will never hear of again after this year. He goes like, Gio Urshela, the most happy fella.
Gio Urshela, the most happy fella.
He's constantly just faced with these new players who he's like never heard of before. He's used to like reporting on Aaron Judge, and now someone's like, yeah, you gotta come up with a home run call for Mike Ford.
Mike is Ford tough.
Their ace, Luis Severino, is also on the IL right now. But it's okay, because we are getting to see more of CC Sabathia, who just became the 17th pitcher ever, third lefty only, in Major League Baseball history to get 3,000 strikeouts. The 19-year veteran and probable Hall of Famer is still not too big, figuratively speaking, to dress up as Yoda for Star Wars Day at Yankee Stadium. He's incredibly sweet and like incredibly like game to do shit like the Yoda stuff or whatever. He's huge, by the way, and not only is he huge, but somehow he still wears oversized clothing. My greatest tweet ever, which went underappreciated. How does CC Sabathia find uniforms that are big even on him? He is both the largest person and wears the most oversized clothes in baseball. Does he get them specially made? Reason number 3 why you should bandwagon the Yankees. They have a lot of cats. I believe that they have the most, I've done zero statistical analysis of this, so I could be wildly off base, and if there's a team that has more cats, tell me about them. I will bandwagon them next week. The Yankees have the most cats per team, or at least Clint Frazier loves his cat, talks about it a lot. Greg Bird has a hairless cat called Mr. Delicious, and Tommy Kahnle's mom, so okay, not Tommy Kahnle himself, but he grew up around them, has 20 cats.
A lot of cats.
That's a lot of cats. All right, what do we have next? Let's do fan, not a fan.
Swarms of bees.
Swarms of bees are great. I'm very sorry to the Reds and the Yankees. Fan of bees, fan of swarms of bees. Bees are dying at an alarming rate, and we should take them where we can get them. Maybe not at baseball games, but you know. We need them to pollinate the planet.
Eye black.
Here's my take on eye black. I think it is perfectly fine as long as you accept that it is no longer serving a function and is in fact just man makeup. I guess that means I'm a fan of it because yes, men should be allowed to beautify as well.
Refusing to go to the White House.
Okay, I'm a fan of refusing to go to the White House because Donald Trump is bad, but I am not a fan of the Red Sox putting the players in the position of having to refuse to go to the White House on a one-by-one basis. Alex Coro said that he's not going because he doesn't like the way that Donald Trump handled relief to Puerto Rico. That is very good, and I appreciate him making that political statement, but the Red Sox put him and all other players of color in a really difficult position by forcing them to stick their necks out and give a reason for why they're not going, as opposed to just refusing the invitation wholesale, which is what they should have done.
The DH.
I am not a fan of the DH, and this is like, I'm sorry, what? Hopefully Noah Syndergaard swayed some of you this week with his insane performance. He pitched a complete game shutout and also had his team's only offense with a solo shot. Literally, that game might not be over now if we didn't let the pitchers hit. Ooh, not a... I am not a fan of Game of Thrones. I'm not a fan of people who are a fan of Game of Thrones. It's perfectly fine if you want to watch your made-up stories with your dragons and your boobs. I just think that TV shows that need to set the entire world's fate as their stakes are actually poor narrative devices. None of us will ever be in that situation ever, and we still care about our own lives. If you can't tell a story that's good and gets people to care about the characters without it being like, imagine some world in which there are monsters and dragons and everyone is always dying in order to get them to buy into the suspense, you're not doing a very good job of telling your story. I'm sorry.
So weird. Thin Mints. Got him.
See that? Not a fan of Thin Mints. Mint and chocolate do not go together. Would you eat a brownie after brushing your teeth? I don't think so. Not a fan. One thing I am not a fan of, all the home runs, which brings me to a humble proposal to fix baseball. There are too many damn home runs, but at this point, if MLB unjuiced the ball back to the way it was, every single at-bat would result in a pop-up. Instead, MLB should address the relentless rise of home runs without completely killing off offense by moving the fences back. This would curtail home runs for the obvious reason, but beyond that, it would incentivize a different kind of scoring. More gaps to aim for means more balls in play, means more hits, more interesting base running, and a greater emphasis on defensive range. This is not just some good old days nostalgia peddling to pander to baseball's core demographic. I just think we have maxed out on the entertainment utility of applying advanced metrics to the pursuit of home runs. Admittedly, moving the fences in would be much easier structurally and logistically than moving them out would be, and I understand that owners are probably loath to give up any ticket sales. But have you seen the attendance numbers so far this year? It's not like they need the extra seats. So that was the first episode of The Bandwagon. To recap, I'm going to spend this whole time trying to convince you that it is good and okay to be a fan of all different teams. Right now, you should be a fan of the Yankees because they are performing way outside the expectations of their current roster, which looks like a AAA team. Big fan of bees. We need them where we can get them. The Pro B TV show. Not a fan of Game of Thrones. Not a fan of the DH. Not a fan of Donald Trump. And baseball should fix itself by moving the fences back. Oh, right. Thin Mints.